So the new scorecard, right? What is it that you should measure when AI chatbots are so important, right? Because when it came to Google, all of us knew the playbook. You had your set of keywords, you had those keyword volumes, and you could always go and see what is happening where on XYZ searches. And everybody kind of knew the SEO playbook as well, what to optimize, what not to optimize. But after chatbots have come into the equation, a large part of the basics remain the same, which means you have to put out the right content, put out the right pages, put out the right blogs, get the right links, etc. But at the same time, there are some things which are very, very specific to LLMs that kind of be taken care of. Now, to put things in context, we've kind of put up a small AV for you. Let's go through that. Right. So I hope that gives you some context of why it is important and what we should be looking at. Let me kind of put around some numbers which are significant for us, and hence we believe it will be significant for you also. According to Bloomberg data, India and not any other market is actually the fastest growing market for all LLMs combined. Now consider that. Almost 140 million users are using ChatGPT every month. Almost the same number, 120 to 130 million, are active on Gemini, right? And if we kind of put that number in context, Google currently, Google search broadly has around 500 million monthly active users. Which is almost 3 to 4 times of what a ChatGPT, Gemini, etc. have currently. But if you kind of look at the growth rates, whereas Google searches are broadly in most categories growing at roughly 8 to 10%, LLM users are growing at almost 85% a year. And if we kind of look at a projection of both of these values over the next 2 to 3 years, broadly you can see that late 2027 or early 2028 is where we have a projected crossover where searches on LLM platforms, users on these platforms will almost be at par with users that are kind of searching for your brands on Google search. And kind of tend to think of it, how powerful is that, right? After Google and Facebook and WhatsApp, quite possibly the next most important and the biggest channel for your brand is going to be these LLM chatbots, right? So what is happening on these chatbots is very, very important. Now, not only is a sizable base doing the research on ChatGPT or Gemini. What we are also starting to see is that whenever people are searching on these platforms, there is almost a 3x higher intent versus when people were kind of doing it on search. And that's because people are turning to these chatbots not only for a list of products, but also with a request to probably recommend a product. On Google, for example, you went and said, give me the top 10 t-shirt brands that I can use. Here you are telling ChatGPT about your preference, asking for a particular recommendation, asking it to compare on price. And hence the intent of the user, which has discovered your brand and analyzed your brand on a ChatGPT or a Gemini, is much higher than the intent of somebody who was simply doing a search. Now, a lot of things to do on AEO, right? In the early days of SEO, if I think a lot of the folks here will relate to, is that you kind of used to Google a specific search back in 2008, 2010, and see whether your brand is appearing or not in those 10 blue links that used to come up, right? So you used to either ask a question about your brand or put your brand in Google and see what were the links that were coming in, who had covered your brand, who had not covered your brand. Now the way to kind of look at AEO is a bit different than that, because here the questions come in different shapes and forms, right? A lot of these prompts are very, very personal in nature. So what should be the prompts that you should be seeing? How many prompts you should be seeing? How many, what are the parameters that you should be seeing? Let us say people are searching XYZ prompts. How many of those people are, how many times your brand is coming up? What is the right metric to kind of look at that? And hence we arrived at a framework for ourselves. And through Atlas, we have kind of also opened up this framework to everyone, where we have devised a framework that consists of an AI visibility score, a mention rate, a share of voice metric, citations, and where these citations are coming from, prompt gaps, where your brands are not appearing when they should be appearing, and then AI referred traffic or revenue. And we'll be discussing more about all of these 6 metrics. Also, we will be looking at Atlas, which helps you monitor these 6 metrics. You can also let us know if that is something that you've been kind of doing, if this is a framework that you have been using, if there is something similar, something different. We would love to hear your thoughts. So without further ado, let me jump into Atlas and show you how it works. So Atlas's website or the web address is atlas.shiprocket.in. It's a simple free to use sign up. Anyone can kind of sign up and use the platform. Once you log into the platform, you'll come to the dashboard. For the newer users, I would suggest they start with Radar, because dashboard essentially is your one place where you can see all of the scans, all of the results, etc., which have been stored with some metrics which are already there for you. If you are a totally new brand and you're using Atlas for the first time, all you have to do is start with your website. At this point in time, for no rhyme or reason, let me use makemytrip.com. You don't need to necessarily add a competitor website, but we strongly recommend that you do, because a lot of the performance on AI chatbots is relative, which means you want to see where you are appearing and you also want to see where your competitors are appearing. So let's pick up one of the competitors of Make My Trip, which is Yatra. Let's add another competitor, which is ClearTrip. And you can add more and more competitors, but kind of let's start with 2. Let me log in again. I think it's a login issue. Let me log out. As I said, you can log in with Google. Go to Radar. Let's just punch the brands again. and we analyze. Now, what the tool will do is it will scan your website and it will scan your competitor's website and create a list of prompts. Prompts are essentially searches that people do on a ChatGPT or Gemini. That's the terminology that is used for searches on these platforms. Uh, Tend to think of this as a proxy for our intelligence and your intelligence about what people are searching for you on ChatGPT and Gemini. And as we speak, the tool is scanning the websites of Make My Trip, Clear Trip, as well as Yatra. It is creating some industry-specific prompts. It is creating some brand-specific prompts. It is creating some comparison prompts. It is creating some pricing prompts. And prompts is one of those areas when it comes to AEO optimization or GEO, where the jury is still out there. As a lot of you would be aware, at present, a ChatGPT or a Gemini don't release the total search volume that is associated with each prompt, which means, for example, when you are on Google's keyword analysis tool, you can put in a prompt and you can kind of see what is the search volume associated with that prompt. Whereas on a ChatGPT or Gemini, you do not know how many times a particular prompt is being searched every month. Hence, this is the area where some amount of art and science both go. As you can see, the tool has created some prompts in informational, commercial, navigational categories. You can see some of these questions here. I am planning a vacation and want to know how Make My Trip's hotel booking process works. This is a branded prompt, as you can see. It is in the informational category where people are just asking about Make My Trip. Then there is a commercial prompt because a lot of people would search which travel site offers better deals on flights, Make My Trip or Yatra. Similarly, is it worth booking a holiday package through Make My Trip? How do I find last minute travel deals online? This is an example of a non-branded search, which means there is no Make My Trip in this prompt. So people are just asking where I can find the best deals. Similarly, you can see different categories of prompts. There are 20 odd prompts that have been created. You can use the tool to create prompts for your own brand. If, for example, you think there is some prompt which is not very, very critical for me, right? For example, where can I find Make My Trips customer support contact information? Let us say we are not very convinced with the prompt. We can ask the tool to regenerate the prompt and it will get regenerated, right? If you are still not convinced about this being the right prompt, or your search console data tells you that, this is something that you would be, this particular query is something that you should look at, you can just edit the prompt once. For example, let's make it a non-branded prompt where I'm saying, where can I find the best hotel deals online? And I might have done my own research. I might have looked at my search console. I might have looked at my Reddit, my socials, etc., to kind of arrive at this particular question. And I can just save that. This is a one-time exercise. Once you have saved these prompts, every time when you rerun these prompts, you kind of don't need to do it. You don't need to generate prompts also every time. But if, for example, you started ranking for all of these prompts and you want some new prompts to kind of go in, you can kind of keep generating the prompts and keep becoming better and better at AEO. So as you can see, some more prompts have been created. Can you suggest the best travel packages for families? What are the perks of using Yatra? How does ClearTrip's mobile app compare? So on and so forth. And you can generate this for your brand and your category as well. Once these prompts have been created, we start a scan. And by scan, I mean these 20 prompts we have created, we will be putting these 20 prompts on ChatGPT and these 20 prompts on Gemini. And then we will be analyzing the answers that are coming when these questions are being asked to a ChatGPT or a Gemini. So as you can see on ChatGPT, our processing is almost 65% done. Wherever the brand is appearing, at whatever rank it is appearing, it is getting populated. We are 80% done on ChatGPT right now. We are yet to start our scan on Gemini. And at this point in time, by default, the platform is open to ChatGPT and Gemini. We also have options to add Claude and Perplexity to the mix. So, though actually ChatGPT and Gemini at this point in time represent almost 85 to 90% of the consumer usage of LLMs. So, that should kind of do good for most of the people who are there today. But if let us say you are very particular about Claude or Perplexity and think your user base is heavy users there, you can opt for that as well. So as you can see, our GPT analysis for these prompts is done. We are currently looking at the Gemini analysis. Once this is done, we will come to those 6 metrics that I just showed you in the presentation as to how the tool calculates those metrics and how to interpret those metrics. Not only once, but also how can you kind of look at the trend line of these metrics? How are these metrics moving over time? And what are your competitors' metrics? Because a lot of the performance on these platforms is also relative, right? When ChatGPT is being asked to recommend a travel category brand, and if it is not recommending any of your competitors and yourself, then what else will it recommend, right? So if you are a brand worth recommending there, it is worth seeing whether your competitors are being picked up in the same light, in a better light, in a worse light by ChatGPT and Gemini. So we are almost 25% done on Gemini, 100% done on ChatGPT. And on the dashboard again, we will see detailed prompt-wise results. We will see prompt-wise rankings. We will see some prompt gaps. We will see citations. We'll see query fan-outs, which is a very specific phenomena that happens on LLM platforms, right? So, for example, when let us say you go to ChatGPT and you say that which is the best brand for booking a flight? There are multiple connotations to this question because there will be brands which are giving flights. Then there will be brands that were giving pricing, one more than the other or one lower than the other. Then there will also be a support question, right? Who provides the best customer support? Then there will be some reviews that people might have given to brand A or brand B. And hence, when you are searching something as simple as which is the best website for travel, a ChatGPT or a Gemini will fan out that query. It will fan it out into customer support. It will fan it out into pricing. It will fan it out into operational. It will fan it out into reviews, and then combine all of those results and then give you a answer. Hence, some questions, as you would have seen, they go in thinking mode where ChatGPT or Gemini have to process multiple fanned out queries and bring those results back, summarize those results, and serve you the result. So as you can see, we are almost 85% done on Gemini as well. So very quickly, we'll kind of see the results, right? So here we have a full set of results and our most important metrics that we had mentioned in terms of the AI visibility score, the mention rate, the share of voice, and whatnot. Now let's go through each of these metrics one by one. The full once we've kind of seen the prompt generation that I just showed you in the beginning where we generated the prompts, you can see the results from those prompts here. You go to the prompt section. These are the same prompts that we were seeing when we had generated the prompts, and the prompt that I had edited is also here. And you can now see what was the category that it was in, whether it was a branded prompt or a non-branded prompt. A branded prompt is something where Make My Trip is mentioned. A non-branded prompt is something where Make My Trip is not there. Right? And then what is the category that it is in, whether it's an informational prompt, a commercial prompt, or a navigational prompt. Whether your brand is mentioned or not, whether when it says yes, Make My Trip has been mentioned against this prompt. When it says no, Make My Trip has not been mentioned against these prompts. And what is the sentiment, whether it is a positive sentiment, a negative sentiment, or a neutral sentiment. Also, it tells you whether your competitor has been mentioned or not. So for example, on this particular prompt, which is which travel site offers better deals on flights, Make My Trip or Yatra, Yatra has also been mentioned. Similarly, you can see Clear Trip is mentioned against this prompt. Somebody has only asked about should I book my next vacation through Make My Trip or look elsewhere, and it has mentioned Yatra. And the tonality or the sentiment on this particular prompt is also negative. So let's see exactly what is happening here, right? So you can click on each prompt. So for example, if somebody is asking, should I book my next vacation through Make My Trip or look elsewhere? Let's see what is the answer that we are getting on ChatGPT. Short answer, look elsewhere first, then use Make My Trip only if it wins on total price and flexibility. Based on current public signals, Make My Trip is a major legitimate OTA with broad inventory, but the main risks are refund delays, cancellations, rebookings, customer support problems, etc. Right? And hence, यहाँ पे they have given a recommendation to kind of use Yatra. Which if you are Make My Trip is essentially a big problem, because if somebody is asking for whether I should be booking it through Make My Trip or look elsewhere, essentially ChatGPT is recommending look elsewhere. And we will see why it is recommending this, what is the answer, right? So now if, for example, you did not do it through Atlas, you would have to read the entire question. You will have to read the entire answer. You would have to see by default what citations have come from, right? So as you can see, there is some blog of myhotelkit.com, which has been picked up in one of the citations for this answer. Also, there is a website called BBB.org where some complaints have been registered, and that page has also been cited. And then there is a user agreement page on the Make My Trip website, which has been used to arrive at this particular answer, right? So this is one prompt. Similarly, you can go to any prompt and see the detailed answer and the citations which were specific to each of these. Every prompt, what were the citations? You can see some blogs, you can see Skyscanner, you can see anything else which is making or breaking your presence on ChatGPT or Gemini. Now, this was the detailed prompt level view. You can also see prompt ranking, right? That on which prompt you got ranked 1, on which prompt you kind of got ranked different. Because I'm doing the scan for a relatively a small period of time. You can see on some prompts I can see that I have dropped out. In some prompts I have gotten newly ranked. Once you do the analysis on your brands across multiple scans, it will show you a trend of whether on a particular prompt you are ranking up or you are ranking down. And actually, before I think I forgot to tell you about how the rank is being calculated. At an overall level, you can see that we've kind of given you a mention rate, which is how many times your brand was mentioned across all of the searches that just happened. What was your share of voice? Share of voice means your presence. And other brands are also getting mentioned. So what is the share of your presence as compared to other brand mentions on these queries? Sentiment, I just showed you a negative sentiment post. In how many cases were your sentiment positive or negative? Also, when you were getting ranked, what was your average rank when you were getting ranked, right? And this is the point that I wanted to show you, that what is meant by 1.22. If we go to detailed level prompts and we look at this particular prompt, you can see that when the answer for this prompt came up, the first brand to get mentioned was Make My Trip. And hence the tool allocates rank 1 to Make My Trip. In this particular blog as well, you can see if, let us say, another brand was mentioned. In this case, it's not. But if there is any other brand that is mentioned, let's look at another prompt for this. Right. Now, in this prompt, you can see the first brand that is mentioned is Make My Trip. So the average rank of Make My Trip for this prompt becomes 1. Yatra is the second brand that is mentioned. So the average rank of Yatra becomes a 2. And if I aggregate the presence of a Make My Trip across all of the prompts, I get the average rank and position. So if you can see, right, so we did 20 scans on Gemini and we did 20 scans on ChatGPT. We are giving you metrics which are combined across these both platforms, which are averaging the rank on each prompt, which are averaging the sentiment on each answer, which are giving you the share of voice that you got mentioned X times divided by your mentions X and the other brand mentions Y, and the mention rate. And if you combine all of that, we are also assigning you a AI visibility score, which can be your 1 point to kind of track over time whether your AI visibility score is going up or your AI visibility score is going down. Now let's go to a section which is very, very core to the platform. And we believe is also core to any strategy on ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, etc. Right? So any LLMs will essentially create these answers on the basis of certain URLs. By URLs, I mean the blogs or pages that the LLMs are using to get their information from. Now, in today's analysis, we ran 20 prompts on ChatGPT and those same 20 prompts on ChatGemini. If you can see across all answers, there were 126 domains that were used. And of those domains, 228 URLs were used. So let's get to this. The whole scan was around Make My Trip. 18 URLs of Make My Trip were used. You can see the details of each of those URLs. So if let us say you are a brand and you are using Aitlas for yourself, you can see which of your pages is kind of determining your presence on ChatGPT or Gemini. Some google.com pages, right? Because Google also has a flight section and those pages are getting scrapped to answer some of these questions. Pages from booking.com, Expedia, Yatra.com, because it is one of the competitors that we use to train. And hence you can see 14 unique URLs of Yatra. So if you are Make My Trip, you can also see what is it that Yatra is publishing and what is it that Yatra is publishing, which is driving Yatra's presence on ChatGPT. Trustpilot, right? This is a website where a lot of reviews about brands are being posted. And let's kind of look at some of these pages. It will tell you what page of Trustpilot is making or breaking Make My Trip's presence. So if you can see, there is a page on Make My Trips reviews. There is a page on Clear Trip reviews. You can simply click on that page and go to the original page where you can see what is it that customers are writing about your brand. If they are writing good, ChatGPT will give you a positive sentiment. If they are writing bad, ChatGPT will give you a negative sentiment. And you can kind of go and take actions on these platforms. If you think that the rating is low, as you can see on Trustpilot, the reviews section, across 2,200 reviews, the rating is 1.2. You can ask some of your customers to go and write an honest review about yourself on the website, right? Do multiple actions, which will determine your presence. Skyscanner got that. Cleartrip, of course, one of the competitors. Hence, you can see the 8 URLs of Cleartrip that were used in the answers. Forbes, right? If let us say you have a PR game, if you are doing PR, if you are working with some of these publishers like Forbes, Times of India, you can see whether they are actually making you appear here or not. You know, a lot of brands invest money in PR. And you can see whether the PR that you are driving, is it getting cited or picked up by ChatGPT or not? Here it is, right? So for example, I just mentioned PR. Look at the Economic Times articles that are there, right? So these are the articles of Economic Times which are getting cited. Let's see what they are. This one was the broken link. So there is a Flipkart, which is acquiring Cleartrip article. For some reason, we are not able to kind of read it on Economic Times. But you can kind of see the URLs, the details of the URLs. Flipkart to acquire Cleartrip. There was an article. Similarly, there is an article around Flipkart to acquire Cleartrip. Online travel portal see roaring revival of revenge travel. That is one of the articles that is being mentioned. And hence, if you are, talking to Economic Times, you can ask yourself to be quoted in some of these articles. or do some featured posts, give some interviews to the reviewers, give some interviews to the reporters and whatnot. Right? So you can see Priceline.com, some pages of Indigo, Expedia Group, Marriott, Ease My Trip, a whole laundry list of places where in some cases you can take some actions. Probably in some cases you can't do anything, right? So for example, there is a DGCA page as well, which is getting cited. But there's not much that you can do with the DGCA, right, when it comes to publishing. Whereas there is a business standard page that is getting cited, and there are so many things that you can do with a business standard, right? So you can not only see it here, you can also download all of the citations in the form of a CSV. It gives you all of the details that we have been seeing here. You can share it with your teams, you can share it with your team members, you can share it with your agencies. That, these are the pages which are getting cited, what is their share, what are the unique URLs on which they are working on, and whatnot. Where they are getting cited in prompts, exact URLs, everything. Now, I've already spoken about query fan out. You can see how ChatGPT breaks down a query. It is very, very interesting to see how the mind of a ChatGPT or a Gemini works. If there is a particular question about I am planning a vacation and want to know how Make My Trip's hotel booking process works, the query fan out says that Make My Trip hotels booking, how it works, official help, which means ChatGPT, for when you ask for a instruction on how Make My Trips process works, is actually going to the official help section of Make My Trip to get you this answer. Right? So if you are a brand, you know that if I have an official help section, these kind of queries will get handled from that. And hence what you write on the official help section will govern what is being quoted about your brand. Right? So hence you can also see which site offers better deals. Now, in the prompt, we mentioned deals because that is how we search, right? But deal is being broken down by ChatGPT and Gemini in the form of also convenience fee and airfare, right? So if somebody will search for deal, it might make a lot of sense to publish about convenience fee and airfares, right? So you can see all the query fan outs that are happening. It's a very, very interesting section. It gives you a lot of insight into what ChatGPT is actually querying when somebody queries a particular subject. So for example, somebody searched about Make My Trips loyalty program. It picked up MyBiz MMT Black membership rewards of 2026. So if you are a brand like Make My Trip, MyBiz MMT Black membership rewards 2026 is being picked up. You know that now, right? After looking at the Aitlas report. And hence, anybody who's looking for a loyalty program, you know where to go and publish what, right? So this is what query fan out does. The competitor section helps you analyze your competitors' presence, like we had shown you initially, where they are getting mentioned, where you are getting mentioned, kind of like a comparison where everybody else is getting mentioned. Now, let me quickly come to the section where you can take actions from within Atlas to now fix these things that you saw, right? So you saw that there are some prompts for which you are getting mentioned, and then there are some prompts for which you are not getting mentioned. To make things easier for you, everywhere where you are not getting mentioned, we have put that in the prompts gap section. So for example, when somebody is searching, how do I find last minute travel deals online? No brand is appearing in this response. Similarly, when somebody is asking, what's the best way to book a budget-friendly international flight? None of the three brands are kind of coming up in the response. So what you can do for last-minute travel deals online is that you can select this particular topic and publish for this topic in an AEO optimized manner using our inbuilt publishing tool called Hydra, right? So on the Atlas platform, you also get Hydra, which is a publishing agent. What the publishing agent will do is that in the beginning, we looked at your website, we scanned how you write, we scanned the tonality of how you write, And we will now write just like Make My Trip would write for a topic, which is how do I find last minute travel deals. You can also customize this in the form of a AEO blog, a thought leadership piece, a buying guide, a product page, or a quick post. For example, at this point in time, I want to publish a AEO blog. If you have any specific brand instructions, which means if there is something that you want explicitly avoided or explicitly included, you can give those brand instructions here. You can select what tone you want, whether you want a friendly tone, a professional tone, whether you want a short length, a long length, or a standard length, whether you want the reading level to be intermediate or expert. Let us say we pick expert. Whether you want a call to action in the piece or not, what sections do you want? You want a comparison table, stats, key takeaways, case studies, schema, whatnot. And what's your audience, what's your language, and what's your target country. And after you filled it in, you can generate the piece right here, right now. So as we speak, we are live generating a AU optimized blog, wherefore when somebody searches how to find the best deals or the best last minute deals for travel. And let's see at what's the output. So our topic has been researched. The search intent has been established. The title has been created. The outline of the AEO blog is kind of being structured as we speak. Then we will gather some resources and write it in your brand voice. So you've seen it in the citation section, right? There are some things that you can publish on your own website which will help you rank. And then there are some things that are being published by your competitors and by news portals and by Wikipedia and by review journals, review websites, which is also having an impact on how your brand is getting cited. Because the ChatGPTs and the Geminis of the world are scanning both, they are combining it and then giving an answer to the customer who is doing a prompt. So we will see how you can publish one on your own website, and then there are things that you can take care of also from within the Atlas platform, which will ensure that you are on the cutting edge of AEO, which means your website or your digital portals are optimized to the T for every time a crawler or an AI crawler comes to crawl your website. And after we see the content piece, we are also going to see some of the technical elements that kind of make it happen. So as you can see, it has created a draft for us. It has then created a title, Discover Last Minute Travel Deals, a quick guide, created an excerpt. It will give you a slug. It has written the content. If you want to kind of make some changes to the content saying that, hey, I just want to change a small thing on the blog, you can always edit it. So you can go and you can add anything that you want and you can just save it. So if there is a layer that you want that, somebody should be reviewing before anything goes live, you can kind of have you or your team can look at the draft, put their 2 cents in it and then publish it, right? Similarly, you can see there is a AU title, there is a meta description, there is a CTA text. You can also give it an image prompt. And after all of that is done, you've kind of made your changes. You can simply save your changes. Now, when you go to the Hydra section, it allows you to integrate your website. So if let us say you are running a WordPress website, you can connect it. I have connected our own Shiprocket websites WordPress to this. Very easy steps. If you have Shopify, you can connect a Shopify store. It will show you all the steps that you need to do. Put in your URL, create an access token. It's kind of like a 2-minute job. Once your website is connected, like in my case, WordPress is already connected. All I then need to do is in Hydra, all I need to do is go and publish it. and I can publish it to my drafts, or I can directly publish to my website. So you can see my WordPress is connected. I'm going to publish it in the draft sections. If you put it on publish, it will go immediately live on the website. I'll put it in drafts right now and just hit publish. And just like that, my blog is published, right? I'll show it to you live how it works. Let me go to my WordPress. As you can see, discover last minute travel deals, a quick guide. It publishes in the exact format that my blog section is there. So you don't need to worry about all of the small formatting details, right? So even if for today you write a blog on ChatGPT or Gemini, you still have to pick that text, bring it to your website, scan, highlight, remove some formatting errors, fix it with your website. If you can see this blog looks like it is completely native to my website's blog section. So it picks up the design by default and it creates a blog with the whole FAQ section, linking, all created, right? And hence that's the power of Atlas, that it allows you to publish from within the platform for any prompt gaps that have come your way. And let's see all of the prompt gaps that were there in our scan. So all of these prompt gaps, you can simply select and publish them in Hydra. Now, Hydra is not the only agent that is available on the Atlas platform. As I said, there are things that you can do in terms of content on your website, in terms of content on your competitor's website. And also there are some technical elements that need to be taken care of, right? So for example, all of us are probably familiar about the robots.txt file. You can just put in your website saying that I'm makemytrip.com, and you can run the robots.txt analyzer. It will tell you whether there is any problem in your robots.txt file, whether any AI crawlers are blocked or not, in which case there is no problem at all. It's all good. If there was a problem, it creates a robot.txt file. You can simply download it from here and edit and update your file. Similarly, there is the llms.txt evaluator. llms.txt is a topic in itself. We've published about it in some of our earlier posts. But this is a web file that if you guys don't have it currently, immediately after the webinar, you can use Atlas to create it, or you can create it otherwise. But please have it on your website. Just what robots.txt was to the Google era is what llms.txt is to the AI era, which means it helps LLMs in reading your markdown version of your files. Also, we've published about markdown files as well. If you don't have markdown versions on your website, please generate markdown versions of pages on your website. It becomes very, very easy for ChatGPT and Geminis of the world to read your data when it is in a markdown format and does not have any JavaScript or anything blocking their reading. We kind of analyzed Make My Trips llm.txt. It found the file. They already have it, but it also found some issues. It has fixed those issues and it has generated a fixed llms.txt file. So you can export the report, what all it has changed. You can see the fixes one by one. You can copy the fixes one by one, or you can also simply download the llms.txt file that the tool has created and again upload it on your server, give it to your dev teams, and then you are kind of taken care of. So other tools, other agents as well: schema generator, PDP optimizer, FAQ generator, and AI health search audit. As we speak, we are publishing agents. Anything new that is coming up in AU or GEO, we are publishing for that in terms of agents. Expect the agent section to keep getting new agents every now and then, as and when the field evolves. We'll ensure that everything that you need to stay ahead in the AU era, you have either as a feature of the platform or as an agent on the platform. Now, before we close and run to questions, I think we are 10 minutes away, so I'll very quickly close this. The tool also allows you to connect your analytics account, which is your Google Analytics account, in a simple one-click integration. So if you signed up on Atlas with the same account that you use For your GA, it's a simple one-click integration. If not, you have to just, add some of the details. Anybody who would have used GA would know that, analyzing AI traffic is kind of like a bit messy there because you have to search for very individual links. What the tool does, it allows you to kind of pick your AI traffic, your AI sources in a very neat and clean manner. What the analytics section also does is that based from your scans and based on your visibility score, it also kind of generates insights for you and gives you those insights, right? So I have right now created my own one of the properties that I have access to. You can connect your WordPress and then it will kind of talk to them beautifully. But on this WordPress, we can see that the AI traffic has decreased 0.4% in the last 7 days. I can do this analysis for 30 days or for a custom time period. You can see AI users, how they are going. Insights around almost 100% of our traffic is coming from ChatGPT on this particular property. You can see that, the bounce rate of AI visitors is higher. It is 30% as compared to overall visitors, which is 25%. What are the kind of content changes, etc., that I should be doing, whether we should be deepening AI landing pages or not, right? So you should go out, check it out. In the interest of time, I'll not go into each of the details. But anything that you kind of need to do, which means scan using radar, publish using Hydra, optimize using agents, and then analyze using a unified analytics when it comes to AU is kind of there on the platform. I'll very quickly, close the presentation, and we'll kind of go to the PPT. I hope the demo actually served some purpose of trying to understand what AU and GU can do for you. Let me quickly recap. The 6 metrics we saw, right? Mention rate, share of voice, citations, AI traffic, prompt gaps, and what you can do. Oh, sorry. I think let me just share my screen. Share. Right. So just let me quickly go back. The 6 metrics that you saw on Atlas, as well as in general, I think is something that you can look at when it comes to AU or GU. You can see whether your competitors, how they are doing, whether, how they are appearing on each platform. You can kind of use Atlas to see only Gemini results, ChatGPT results, and overall as well. And how you can publish through Radar, use some of our agents that are there on the platform connected with the GA4, and see all of the relevant metrics in one platform. This is the QR code for using Atlas. The website is atlas.shiprocket.in. As part of our festive celebrations, as part of you guys taking out time to come onto the platform and come to this webinar and discuss with us. Especially for today, there is a special offer running on the growth plan. So if you are interested in checking out the tool, you can check it out. You can check out the growth plan that is there on the platform, which I think will help almost almost all of the use cases that you might have currently. And then there are other plans on the platform as well. So that is it from my end. I think I'll just we'll take some of the questions that are there. Just give me a moment. I'll stop the sharing.
Okay, thank you, Piyush. Thank you so much for a really great detailed explanation. We have received few questions. I guess we have received few questions. We'll start with the first question from Rakesh Jain. What are the commercials for and the extent of usage for this for Atlas?
No, I think that's a great question, Mr. Rakesh, because when we kind of built this tool, we wanted to ensure that the sensibilities of almost all customers are taken care of, and hence the tool can serve anywhere from somebody who's starting out and has a basic website and 10 or 15 orders to a massive corporate as well. To kind of give you a scale of this, currently we have one-person brands also using it, and a brand like a Bharti Airtel also using it. So you can go to the pricing section on the website on atlas.shiprocket.in, and you can also see the plans for yourself. There are a lot of DIY plans, and there are also some managed services. So if there are something that you require help on, for example, publishing on, let us say, Economic Times, or publishing on some of the guest posts. There are plans that help you with that as well. There is a very small standard plan. There is a growth plan. The first year is absolutely free, so you can do 3, 4, 5 scans, publish websites. Even on the smallest tier, the capability of the platform is fully with you. So you can start off with the smallest free plan, try it for yourself, gradually go to a bigger plan. As the business evolves, the plans keep evolving. Plans for almost every spectrum with the value use cases in mind. So I would really recommend you check out the pricing section on the website.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Rakesh. Rakesh also shares another question with us. What happens when my competitor and we are using Atlas? How does the competition pan out?
Again, a very good question, Mr. Rakesh. So, I think the rules for AU and GU are fairly democratic, like they were in the SEO era as well. Which means both brands need to publish, and both brands, let me kind of put it in this way, right? So, for example, if one brand was coming with a small arsenal for a fight, and the other brand was also coming with a smaller arsenal. Now that you see the other brand who has come up with a bigger arsenal, you will be forced to kind of come back, because you've seen the fan out section of ChatGPT, right? When somebody is asking a prompt and it is talking about an official help section, if you don't have an official help section on your website, and the other brand has it, then you will lag behind. So Atlas will kind of tell it to you in your prompt gaps. Now, both of the brands that are using it will kind of benefit from it, but the third brand, which is not using Atlas, will essentially, will find it slightly harder to catch up. When I say catch up, because query fan out is an established AEO concept, right? So if you can kind of do it on your own, you can also kind of, do some query fan out analysis only, and then, publish on its own. But then the whole reporting piece also becomes a bit clumsy. So without Atlas also, a brand will be there with you in your race, right? So there will be a third brand also, which is not using Atlas, which will also be in that same fight. But with Atlas, you can measure, you can see the impact, you can see your positioning, whether the other brands, in a much easier manner. And the publishing agents essentially kind of give you a headway, or, a kind of like a lead over somebody who's kind of not using it. And also how you use the tool is very important, right? So there are some technical agents that are there. There are some publishing agents that are there. You can, improve the scan frequency, publish more often, publish more using the platform, or publish only for specific query fan outs, right? So even with the same tools, right? So like F1 cards, they are broadly engineered in the same way, but still, they are driven in a very different manner. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, I think that covers the extent of it. Thank you everyone who's joined the webinar today.